Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Maccabi USA Sports Show. Arnie and I are so happy. Arnie, are we not to be back with you?
It is, Donna, Commissioner
Yeah,
Order.
we
It
can
is
talk.
so nice to be back with you and to bring the Maccabi Sports Show again to our vast audience. And can't wait for today. We have a phenomenal guest.
Yeah, and so the sports world is a buzz. Jake, don't worry, we're coming to you, but we're getting ready for the Maccabi in Israel. And I have to say, with all this football talk, and we're going to talk about this, Jake, and certainly we'll talk about college sports and NIL and all those great things. But the quarterbacks seem to get all the attention in terms of how they can impact a team. And here you are leading one of the best teams in the nation. We're so happy to have you. I just want to know, how does it feel to be you these days?
It's great. It's fun. I love leading these men. Yeah, we often do get a lot of the credit, too much of the credit and too much of the blame. That's why I try to stay focused on the team, try to stay focused on the guys and pump them up whenever I can. But yeah, that is true. Too much attention is paid to the quarterback and not enough to everybody else in the field.
Well, maybe so, maybe so. But all the data does point to the fact that a great quarterback helps really underpin a great team. So we'll talk about that. Arnie?
So, Jake, you were raised in a Jewish home in Corona, California. You got bar mitzvahed at Temple Beth Israel in Pomona, and have been very vocal about your love for Judaism and the Jewish journey. What have been some of the key moments throughout your Jewish journey that have gotten you to where you are now? And who have you looked at as a role model potentially within the Jewish world?
Yeah. I love my Jewish journey. It's been incredible for me to be able to reflect and be able to realize where it has been the most impactful, regardless of how, at certain times in my life, how strong or how often I was able to express it. And so it's really cool to appreciate time to sit back and look at the journey, the setbacks, and knowing that, I was always being looked out for and I always had a chance and I was always going to end up all right. But when it comes to looking up to different athletes, I mean, the obvious ones in the football world is, Julian Edelman, watching that guy play and watching him be proud of his faith, watching, be, vocal and be somebody who people could reach out to about that was inspiring for me. The stories growing up in LA area was about Sandy Koufax pitching, being a legend and being unapologetically himself, which is something that I try to be also.
Okay, so we're talking about BYU. Why, where, and what? Like, as you were coming up, the Jewish kid playing football. I'm sure you got some attention and some jibes about that. But how did you end up at BYU of all places?
Yeah, BYU just posed the greatest opportunities for me along my football career. Honestly, I didn't put Jewish guy and quarterback together until I got to BYU. For me, I knew I was always, one of the probably the only Jewish kid on the football team, one of the few Jewish kids in my school and stuff like that. But I never connected it until I got to here. And this has been an incredible opportunity for me because this place brings faith and football so closely together that it is just impossible to ignore. And so it's been an incredible experience for me to see how my opportunity here when it came to athletics, when it came to football, has just blossomed into an incredible religious opportunity for me to be proud of who I am on a national spotlight. BYU had an incredible football program, and so I was ready to come in, join the Big 12. I knew it was going to be a great opportunity. When it comes to quarterbacks, I mean, the names. Zach Wilson got drafted second overall. Jaron Hall gets drafted the year after him, and so I'm looking at my chops going to this place. It's like, okay, these guys get drafted, quarterbacks drafted high, and so I want to go there and be the next quarterback at BYU.
And you got to also mention Ty Detmer, right? The Heisman Trophy winner. You can't forget him. You almost had 3,000, I think just shy of 3,000 yards. BYU is always known as an aerial team, right? So it's a great showcase for quarterbacks, without a doubt.
Yeah, like you said, this place has been pumping out quarterbacks since the beginning. There's just a long list, starting with guys like Ty Detmer, Steve Young, Jim McMahon, Gifford Nielsen. I could just Robbie Bosco, with Jaron and Zach, obviously. There's just a plethora of quarterbacks coming out of this place since the beginning of the program, since Lavelle Edwards was the coach here. And so knowing all that history about it and then knowing all the recent history about it, I knew that this was going to be a great place to play quarterback.
And now, Arnie, can you see it? And now Jake Retzlaff.
Absolutely. Right? One of the great ones. I
Yep.
have to tell you, Jake, it was so fun to watch you last year, and have you watching you in the Alamo Bowl and the great game that your team played, you played, beating a very difficult Colorado team. That was really special, and I'm sure it was very special to you to end the season with a win like that.
Yeah, no, it was so fun to see the team come together. I think in that game, our culture shined through the love the guys have for each other. When you have 3 weeks off before your final game, the team can do, a couple different things. They can kind of just go do their own thing. They can come together like a unit or nothing. And so we came together even stronger. Nobody even thought about opting out of the game, and we knew that we were going to be solid going into that game, and our brotherhood showed through, and our relentless nature. And we were a really good team all year, and we didn't always get credit for it. So it was a little bit of that chip on our shoulder, even in the final game of the season after a 10-win season, to continue to just prove people wrong. Because going into that game, like, we respect Colorado a lot, but there was a lot of talk about them and not very much talk about us, and so we took that a little personally.
Yeah, you all played a tremendous game. Jake, I want to go back a little bit to you coming to BYU. Only I think the number is three Jewish people on campus. Is that right?
Yeah, three, and I don't even know how confirmed that number is. I'd love to go back and look.
Just talk about what it was like when you started on campus, how your teammates kind of looked at you and the student body in general looked at it as a Jewish member, and also what did you learn, from fellow members of the BYU campus, largely a Mormon school. Just kind of your feelings on both of those accounts.
Yeah, coming to campus has obviously sparked a lot of conversation within the guys. One of the cool things that they did, our nutritionist, I was talking to him during, I think it was the High Holy Days, and we were talking about doing something and getting some pastries or something like that. And I was like, yeah, you could probably get some. The problem is you can't get any around here. You got to order it from LA. That's the closest place you're going to get anything. So, but he took it above and beyond, and he actually got like the only kosher food truck in Utah. It's a kosher Yala kosher food truck, and they're based up in Salt Lake. And he got them to come down here and feed the entire team, and that was super fun for me because, like, I got to, like, be proud of that, and everybody. That's when the questions flowed the most. They always did, but that was when everybody keeps asking me about what holiday we were celebrating, or what this food was, or how to eat it. And I was giving tutorials on stuff in the food and the pita bread and just munching on it like a sandwich. And so it was a good fun time, and it's awesome because it really feeds that brotherhood. It feeds that understanding of each other. When those questions are asked to me, I ask similar ones back. And so it's super fun for me to be able to create those relationships based on curiosity and true intrigue, with such good meaning, such good purpose behind every question. And it only fostered great relationships between me and my teammates, and made this team even closer than it already was. And that deep-rooted culture, that deep-rooted sense of self, the more you get to know your teammates, the closer and better the team will be. And so there's no doubt that at some point it helped us on the field. And honestly, something I learned from the school, from the culture here, is that we are so similar in so many ways when it comes to faith. As a society, as a culture, we love to point out the little differences in different faiths, whether it's Jewish, Christian, Mormon, Muslim, or anything like that. We love to just think about what's different, but there is so much that is the same that can be celebrated together. And it's honestly super powerful when you tap into that side.
So what was the favorite kosher food of your Cougar teammates?
Some guys were trying like falafel for the first time. Some guys were trying these different like tahini for the first time, and they're like, "This is so good." I'm like, "Yeah, you guys got to eat more of this." The problem is, you can't get it anywhere. So I'm telling these guys, if they ever go to some bigger cities, that go find the Mediterranean, the Jewish place, and go eat there. And now they're more inclined. Like, a lot of them is their first time eating that type of food, especially the Utah guys. And so it's cool to be able to like get them curious, get them, and some of the guys are asking for it back. Like, hey, when we get that food truck back, that was so good. And so yeah.
Well, I have to just say that your positivity and your openness is really such a great energy. It's no wonder that you're a really good quarterback, because those are the same kind of skills that you probably bring to help your teammates be better, and you take it back from them. But we are living in a time, Jake, where anti-Semitism has never been more prominent. It seems like you're in a little bit of a bubble or a cocoon. It reminds me of Arnie and I's conversation with Sam Sauls. Have you ever Have you ever run into Sam?
Yeah, I ran Sam this weekend.
And he feeling at Texas A&M this incredible ability to educate and connect, and not feeling the scourge of anti-Semitism, which many students across America are feeling. Have you have any personal incidents? Are you aware of what's going on? Have any thoughts that you could share with us?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that this university, and I would hope any faith-based university is so accepting of faith and of all kinds that it's curiosity, just like Sam was saying, like it's curiosity, it's people asking questions about it, and you get to be sort of a teacher in one way or another. And it's not hatred in any way. And I would be careful to say it's the most anti-Semitic time, but like here on this campus, it is the complete opposite. I mean, because everything is centered around faith, because there's prayer before class, prayer before games. If you guys come to a game in LaVell Edwards Stadium, there's a prayer before the game. And it's super powerful to just bring the people together like that. Because, one of my favorite things about faith, and I think where it serves almost its most prominent purpose, is the community it brings together. You get people from all different backgrounds and all different ways of, growing up and social class and all this. If they're praying for the same things, like it is a powerful thing. It can build community like nothing else. And so here at BYU, we have that strong community, and we have, because it's centered around faith, we try to be good people for that reason. And if faith is nothing else, it's a good reason to treat people really good. And that is super powerful, especially at a place like BYU.
So let me ask you, based on those values and the competitive nature of collegiate football as it is now, and how much money is being thrown in, I'm sure you are aware, right? The Ohio State team was a $20 million budgeted team, and Oregon, lots of money. Do you anticipate lots of goings and comings through the portal of your teammates coming up, or is this a class and all this belief keeping everybody there, you think?
Money is a very, uh, shaky topic when it comes to sport. Like I love how we get paid now and we are able to, you know, do things that'll help ourselves, help advance ourselves. But it can get shaky in this world where people start to focus too much on money. My favorite message that Coach Kalani gives us is like if you are here for money right now, then something changed from the time I recruited you to now. Like
Wow.
we
Wow.
are we are centered around that idea of money. Money will come and go for your entire life. And the beautiful thing about BYU is our network is so strong and it's real. You really feel it. Everybody loves to say that network is strong, but you feel it here at BYU. And you know that, if football ended today for me, I know that I'd be okay. I know that I have enough people around me, enough people who I've associated myself with through being a football player at BYU that I'm going to be all right in the rest of my career and whatever I choose to do. And so knowing that, it is so easy to hop behind the culture and jump on board. And there's countless guys here who have been offered one way or another a lot more money to go play at another place. But they're
Right.
like, that place is not going to give me a holistic experience the way that BYU does. The culture here of love and learn, the real meaning of that is hard to find. And in college football, with so much changeover and stuff like that, building a culture is harder now than ever. And BYU has done it over and over again. It's been so incredible to watch. And it's one of the reasons why, we were the underdog in like almost every game last year. Like we beat the spread in pretty much every game last year because Vegas couldn't quantify what we have here at BYU. What like the culture we have, the team we have, like it didn't show up in the stat sheet, but it shows up in wins and losses.
Oh, I love you. I love you. I love you. I have to just tell you, yes, as an athlete myself, Arnie and I both competed. To hear you say this warms our souls.
Yeah,
Right.
no, this place is special in so many ways. Like I don't know how lucky I got. I can't describe how lucky I got to be recruited to a place like this, especially when I honestly wasn't highly recruited out of junior college. I was listed the number one junior college quarterback on ESPN, but it wasn't like I had every Power Five school knocking on my door. But BYU did, and I'm so grateful for that.
Hey Jake, let me ask you a couple of Jewish questions here, and religious faith questions. At a school like BYU, I assume that you have to take a fair amount of religious oriented classes. What have you learned from studying from the Mormon text? And is there any comparative aspect of that with Jewish text, with the Torah?
Yeah. What's cool about, Mormonism is they have a funny fascination with Judaism because they do believe that Jews are the chosen people. I mean, I've had countless people come up to me and tell me, like, if I wasn't a member of the church, I would be Jewish. So many people legitimately feel that way, and they're not just saying it for word service. And so it's really cool to see the alignment between how much they respect and care for the Jewish people. Like, this is an evangelical religion, yet in Israel there are no missionaries, like, which is really cool. And there's a Jerusalem Center, a BYU Jerusalem Center, where there's a lot of people going there and they'll study abroad there in Jerusalem, in Israel. And the great respect between mutual religions is so fun to see. And that's what's, contributed to the experience I've had here over the last couple of years and will continue to experience is like we draw so many similarities. Like they love, and sometimes this is rare. You're talking about now with some anti-Semitism, growing. They love to associate themselves with Judaism. It's something they're, proud of, and they want to say they are associated with Judaism, which is super cool. And like I said, especially in a time where, picking a side can be controversial one way or another, and staying out of it sometimes is of best interest. But the LDS faith really loves Judaism, and really has supported me in a million ways, just because they draw so many similarities, in that way.
Well, BYU now has the chosen quarterback of the chosen people after last season. I want to ask you also about a special relationship I learned about, which is your relationship with Rabbi Chaim Zippel, and some of the things you've done with menorah lightings and obviously the food. You lay tefillin, I was told. Is that right? Just talk a little bit about that relationship with the rabbi out there.
It's been great. It's been nice to have a little bit of a Jewish nature out here, a Jewish connection out here in Utah. It's hard to get that. And so, like, while I miss my synagogue back home dearly, like my rabbi back home, my cantor back home, that community back home, I really miss them. I know they're so proud of me. My parents went for the High Holy Days, and everybody kept talking about it. And so I wish, as much as I wish I could be out there every Friday night, I can't. And so it's really nice to have this Jewish connection out here and that Jewish support out here, where I can do something for a Jewish community out here when I can't. It's hard to do something for a community back home just because I'm not there. And so it's been awesome just to have that. We'd have to fill in on Lavelle Edwards Stadium, and so maybe that's what really, related to that great season. Who knows?
Well, so looking forward, Jake, what do you see for yourself? What's your goals, your wishes, your desires? Where are you heading?
Yeah. So this year, I'm so excited for this year. The more football I watching the Super Bowl, I had the opportunity to go, and I stayed for the celebration. And I'm nor an Eagles fan or a Chiefs fan, but I just watched it, and honestly, like, I wanted to, you know, go on the internet and tell everybody we're going to win a national championship, because that's how I feel about our team, and that's how hungry we are for this thing. And last year we told everybody in the offseason that we were going to be a really good team. Nobody believed us. We were, I think 14 out of 16 in the Big 12 preseason rankings, but we believed it, like I was talking about, and so that's all that mattered. And I truly believe we're going to be an even better team this year. And so national championship is what's in sight ahead of me and my teammates. And then, post college ball, I'm excited to get an opportunity to go to the NFL draft after this season. It was really cool at the Unity event through Robert Kraft's Foundation. It was really cool to meet and talk to him. And it's cool to see that the connection there, the Jewish connection, and how he's proud of me, and just stuff like that, and be able to, see that there's a community on the next level of football, of Judaism that's a lot stronger, frankly. And so it would be, an honor and a privilege to be able to join that community next year. Hopefully a year from now, I'm training for the draft. Well, honestly, for a year from now, we'll be training for the draft and getting excited for that next chapter of my life. But for now, it's worrying about this season and going to win a national championship, because that's what we have in this building. We have the ability to do that. Last year, we missed the playoff by the skin of our teeth. And
Yes.
so we are excited to, not leave it up to chance next year and go do it ourselves, and don't leave anything up for doubt.
Jake, Donna alluded earlier to some of the changes in football. Obviously, the portal's been a big change. The other big change has been NIL money. And you signed a publicized deal with Manischewitz. I'm not sure if you have other NIL deals as well, but talk about how that came about and how it's going and kind of some of the feedback that you've been getting from around the country.
I want to know if it's across the board for all Manischewitz products, because like for me, Manischewitz wine, is absolutely a weekly must.
Yeah. So going to BYU, there's a couple of things that are different about BYU, and the LDS faith. They actually don't drink alcohol at all. So I'm actually endorsing a lot of their food products, but strictly not the alcohol, because of the association with BYU. But maybe down the line when I can be holding a bottle of wine in a commercial sometime. But for now I won't be. I'll be shaking latke mix and throwing matzah into crowds of people or something like that. But so that's what's going on right now. Hopefully we're working on expanding on that Manischewitz deal. It was incredible for the opportunity to come up. Manischewitz was looking to expand in the social media world and the influencer market. And it was just a perfect match, match made in heaven. And so it's been super fun to partner with them. Obviously the whole deal went so super mega viral, which has been awesome for me and awesome for Manischewitz too. And it's so cool to have another positive Jewish story in the headlines.
I want to ask you this. You are obviously very high profile right now, especially in the Jewish world. I mean, you are, Sandy Koufax and Max Fried and some of the great stars in sports. What's it been like for you to get all of the attention and have Jewish leaders around the country and government and business? Have they reached out to you in order to congratulate you on what you're doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a couple of incredible direct messages that I've gotten throughout the season on Instagram. The couple of notable ones is Dave Portnoy of Barstool Sports, Julian Edelman, obviously him being the legend that he is, but also like a few different, little companies, like VPs of companies reaching out, like, Microsoft sent me a custom Xbox because the VP of marketing is Jewish. And so just little stuff like that has been so incredible. And then you keep going down the list and it's just the outreach has been so positive. And I love to hear from, it could be any people. It could be a 50-year-old man in the middle of the country somewhere telling me that he's more proud of being Jewish than he ever has in his life because of hearing my story. And that's what does it for me. Like it's really cool to be associated with these incredible people, but it's when the real people, when you make a real difference in the normal person's life, that's when it's like, it really strikes a nerve for me. And it really feels like, yeah, I think I'm doing something positive.
You are. So I'm going to make my pitch right now for our NIL deal, because we have, probably, 800 to 1,000 kids going to Israel to be part of Maccabi. So I think the NIL deal, first of all, we have to send a whole bunch of stuff to Jake, right? And we'd love to engage you in, obviously, this is all about building Jewish pride through sports. And when I know I am responsible for basketball, and I know Reggie played in 27, right? So we want to welcome him back into the fold. We're getting, I think, 14 basketball teams ready for this summer. So I don't know who your agent is. Maybe we can arrange a talk. Maybe we'll just DM you, Jake. We'll talk about Maccabi USA. How about that?
That'd be sweet. I'd love to get you in contact with the right people and let's get something going.
The right people. Okay, I want to be with the right people. You guys are in the Big 12 now. This is your second year. My good friend Brett runs the league conference. He's doing an amazing job. The difference between being in the Big 12 and being in the Western Conference?
Yeah, so for us, I got here in our first year in the Big 12, and we were independent before then. And so we played a lot different schedule. It was mostly like I would compare it to a more of like a Mountain West type schedule, like a Group of 5 schedule. It wasn't a Big 12 schedule. So when we made the jump, it's been incredible. In our first year, we learned a lot. It was a learning year. It was where we learned a lot of lessons that we took with us into our second year. Our first year, we went 5-7, barely missed out on a bowl game on a nail biter at the end of the year. But this year it was like, okay, we understand what the Big 12 is. We understand what we're doing now. We understand what's ahead of us, the gauntlet that is the Big 12, especially late in the year in those November games that are hard to win. We learned. And so it was incredible to take those lessons and really apply them in the next year and how we go 11-2. And honestly, we learned even more from last year. And it's about going 13-0 and 14-0 and 15-0, like in that playoff. And so we're really excited about the opportunity we have. And you talk about, Commissioner Yormak is also another face that reached out to me, being another Jewish guy who's prominent in sports. And he's been incredible and as supportive as he can be as a commissioner, of course, of the Big 12, and so it's been cool to navigate the Big 12. I'm excited this year. I'll, at this moment, I think I'm going to represent BYU to the media days, and so I'm excited to, interact more with the other schools, the other coaches, because I respect this conference a lot. And honestly, we don't get enough respect as a conference, in my opinion. I think that, but we're going to change that this year with the way we play on the field.
Hey, Jake, let me ask you a question. Provo is an absolutely beautiful community, and the stadium you play in with the mountains in the background, I mean, it's a gorgeous sight on a Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. Two questions. What's the toughest Big 12 stadium you've played at so far? And how do you're a California kid. How do you like the cold weather? And I'm asking this for a selfish reason because I'm from Green Bay, Wisconsin, and I want to see you wearing the green and gold in another couple of years. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, the cold is the cold. We played, last year we had one or two games where the field was actually frozen. Now I think they got a better warming system at the Green Lambeau field. But the cold is a new aspect that I've had to deal with. Like you said, being from Southern California, we get the best weather, in the country, and so we get to be warm all the time, which is so nice. But yeah, the cold has been something to adapt with. I'd say, the most in the Big 12, probably the most fun stadium, I would say, I'm putting most fun stadium that we played at last year. That's tough. We had a really fun time in Orlando, Florida. The Jump House was a cool atmosphere. We did end up, closing that party down early, because we were scoring a lot of points, and so there's not a lot of jumping going on. But I mean, there's just going up to Utah is a crazy place to play. That's probably the answer I'd go with is that is the craziest environment. The added atmosphere of the rivalry makes the game so much more intense, so much more insane. And so we came out of there with a win last year, but we came out of that one like that. We earned every inch of that win. It was a game where they beat us up pretty good, and it came down to the very end. So that was a blast playing up there at Utah and getting that win there. Probably the most insane stadium other than ours.
Let me shift a little bit down and talk about the Maccabi. Have you been to Israel? If you would like to go to Israel, what and talk a little bit about if you know anything about the Maccabi movement. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so everybody in my family has gone except for me and my little brother. My parents all went with my older brother on that trip to the Maccabi games. They had so much fun, and all I did was hear stories and see pictures about it, and got more and more jealous. So I've never been, but I actually do plan on going this summer. Right now, I have almost solidified, but mostly tentative plans to hit middle of May, get out to Israel for a week. It's really hard with our schedule to find a week that works for us, but that week looks like it's going to be good. And so I'm going to bring a bunch of my teammates with me, and we're going to have the week of our lives. I'm super excited for it. Of course, I want to go to Israel. Of course, that's like number one bucket list destination. So I'm excited to get something scheduled right now for May 12th. I don't know how soon you guys head out there, but
Jake, we can help. We can help you. Just let us know. We know people. We can help you.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that. I'll let you guys know. There's a really cool organization, Athletes for Israel, that has reached out to take me and my teammates. So I'm really excited for that. And so that's I can't wait for that trip.
That's a really cool thing. Some of the other Jewish coaches, for example, Bruce Pearl from Auburn,
Yep.
always takes his players to Israel, and it's a very special thing, I think, to be able to get non-Jewish athletes to be exposed to Israel and all the beauty. Sometimes they get a wrong perception from what they read, but being there in person, I think your teammates will really love that. So thank you for doing that. I think that's terrific.
Yeah, I'm so excited, man. I'm giddy.
It will be great. All right, so we're going to round this wonderful conversation up, Jake. And I guess I would want to ask you, as you look at the next season, I know you said undefeated. You know who you're going to be playing. Who are you going to be especially prepared for based on how they line up against you? And then what one game would you want to make sure we're all watching? If we rally the troops to watch one game, even though we'll watch more, who would be your opponent? Which game would it be?
Look at our schedule. I mean, the opponent, we get them at home this year, is obviously the rivalry game against the Utes. Just thinking about playing them gets me to want to run through a wall because those guys, we don't have good feelings and they don't have good feelings for us. So that would be the game if you guys could rally
All right.
and get to a watch party or something like that. That is the game to think about. There's a couple more on that schedule that like teams we owe, the teams that got us a couple years ago that we're ready to, get them back. Teams like Iowa State, teams like West Virginia. So we're excited for that opportunity this year. And I'm excited to look at the schedule. The Big 12, like I said, is a gauntlet. And so it's going to be super fun to go through it just like we did last year. But we know even more now. We're going to be even more prepared. And we're going to, do our best to run the table.
Well, that's awesome. I know that we couldn't be happier and more pleased. Your schedule is heavy. You've got a lot of obligations and responsibilities. Thank you for taking some time out of your schedule to spend with the Maccabi family, Maccabi USA. We'll look forward to following up after your trip to Israel. And in the near future, you can expect some really quite cool swag for Maccabi USA as we get ready and all of our uniforms start coming in. We'll start sharing some stuff with you as we get ready for the Maccabi in Israel. Arnie?
That'd be awesome.
I just want to close it, Jake, by thanking you. I know how busy you must be, and you really are a role model and a real mensch. I've heard you speak a number of times now, and you're a great a representative of the Jewish faith and also the BYU community. Best wishes to you. Want to see you in the CFP next year. I think the Cougars are going to get there, and after that, very much look forward to watching your NFL career. I think you're going to be a terrific and very successful quarterback. So thank you for taking the time, and thank you to the BYU family for joining forces with our Maccabi family for this great interview today.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Appreciate you guys having me on. It's been fun.